Hi everyone, in this video we are going to style the footer. So we are done with the HTML. Let's jump into CSS. First off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the height, and we are not going to have any background color for the footer. The padding for the footer, the vertical one is going to be XLV, and the horizontal one is going to be var LH. So not LS, LH. There we go. So that is the padding. Let's say display flex. Display flex. Everything is going to be side by side, so that content section and the author part, they're going to be side by side. But we would want them to be vertical, so I'm going to say column. Flex direction is going to be column. The gap between the two is going to be 5 rem. Now let's jump into the content. So I'm going to say footer __ content. First, I'm going to say padding bottom. Padding bottom is going to be var padding LV. Padding LV, not LH, LV. And then I'm going to say display flex. So we have within there, we have 3 containers. One is this text, the other one is the office, and the other one is the contact. So when I say display flex, all 3 of them, they're going to be aligned horizontally. Let's save that. There we go. So here is and this part is the author part. First, we're going to style the content part. Now let's separate them, or put some distance between them, among them. So it's going to be justify content space between. So they're going to be spaced farthest from each other, and the gap is going to be 4 rem. Let's say flex wrap. Let's set it to wrap. So when the width of the screen is getting smaller and smaller, they're just going to move on to the next flex line. I'm going to provide a border bottom. It's going to be 1 pixel solid, and the color is for this border is going to be quaternary MD. Let's save that. I'm going to bring it above, and I'm going to save this. So let's take a look at our changes. There we go. We don't see the border. So 1 pixel, it has to be solid. SOLID. There we go. So this is the border. Now after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the motto text. So footer content -- motto _ text. For this one, the font size is going to be static medium. So font size var static st medium. Font weight, let's set it to 500. Now, whenever you're setting font weight, make sure to consider to take a look at the font weight for that specific font that you're using. So for Montserrat, it is 100 all the way to 900. For Varda, it is 300, 400, 500, 600, and 700. So you have to keep in mind that which font weights does that font actually support. If it doesn't support it, it's not going to apply it. And you're going to be wondering, okay, why is the font weight not being applied? Probably that's the reason. And next up, I'm going to grab the span. So it's going to be footer, motto text, span, and the color for the span is going to be color septenary. Color septenary. So far we are done with this. Let's take a look at it. There we go. Everything looks cool. The only thing remaining is that we need to enlarge the other stuff as well. So the contact and the address. I'm going to jump into CSS once more. And in here, let's grab the class for those. So the styling is going to be the same for the address and the contact. So I'm going to select both of them. They're within the footer content, and they're the footer content address and footer content contact. Let's provide a comma, and this part is contact. I'm going to say margin bottom. Let's set the margin bottom to 1 rem. Font size is going to be var font size static medium. So this is going to be the font size. Let's take a look at it. Here is our website. There we go. So address. This shouldn't say address. It should say office, not address. So office. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. Office. They look a little bit bigger than the ones that we have here. Let's inspect them. So font size is static medium for these, and for these the font size is static medium. I mean, we did apply those, right? So let me just take a look at it. Let's grab the element. Static font size, static medium. Address, static medium. Okay, so footer content address. This is the font size. Oh, this is the div. We need to select the title, so I just forgot to provide that. I'm going to click there. I can hold Alt and I'm going to click there. I'm going to say title. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. There we go. So now we were actually selecting the div, not the actual title. So that part is done. Let's grab and style the LIs. So I'm going to grab these two, copy them, and I'm going to put them there. Now we are selecting them from their div, so they're not within the title. I'm just going to get rid of the title. I'm going to say ULLI, and let's grab the first child. So the styling for the first child is going to be margin bottom, 0.5 rem. And the styling for both of these, let me select this, is going to be the same. So both of the children, they're going to have the same styling. Only the margin for the first child was a little bit big. So the font size is going to be shared. This is going to be font size STS. And opacity is going to be 0.7. This part is done. This part is done. Let's move on to the author part. And I'm going to grab the container for the author. So let me just collapse this one. So we have the footer author. We are going to create a flex context. So it's going to be display flex. And we want to stretch them apart. So I'm going to use justify content space between. Justify content space, not around, but between. So that part is done. But when they're getting close to each other and there is no space between them, I don't want them to be like, to get stuck together, I want them to have a little bit of distance between the two. So I'm going to say the flex, the gap row is going to be 2 rem. And flex wrap, I'm going to set it to wrap. So they are responsive. Now, the only things remaining is just providing a font size for the copyright and the social and basically very, very simple stuff. So I'm going to say footer. This is going to be author, footer author copy dash right. Font size is going to be equal to STS. So STS, this is the font size. And then I'm going to grab the footer social dash social. This is going to be display flex, and the gap is going to be 1 rem. And finally, let's grab the I elements or the icons of the social I. And I'm going to say font size. Let's increase the font size to STS, and cursor is going to be pointer. Save that. Let's take a look at our website. Okay, let's bring this down. Now, what do we have here? Now, since we have used flex basis for the content part and we have used flex basis for the author part, we don't really have to do anything, and the flex wrap we have not used flex, but flex wrap. What I meant was flex wrap. We have used flex wrap for the content and the author, so they have to be responsive by default. There we go. So there is not enough space. This part, the context, it just came down. There we go. And let's just keep decreasing the width of the window. And there we go. So this offices is down. The reason that they're stretched apart is that space between, justify content space between. Let's go ahead and keep making it smaller. So now the social, they're at the bottom as well. So you can see flex wrap, it basically removes any need for providing media queries, and it is responsive by default without the use of any media queries. Now the only thing that I would want to provide is this padding. The padding that we have provided to our preceding sections, and that is within 470. We know that. This is going to be right here. So the class is going to be footer. Let's save that. And when we come here, there is just a little bit more space. And here is our navigation. So with this, our lecture comes to an end. So does the main page of this website. In our next lecture, what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and code. Let's go up. We are going to code the sign-in page, and this page, which looks really cool. And then in the lecture after that, we are going to style this page. So see you then.